Alright gang, I'm talking about Zoologist Perfumes fragrances. 3 of their latest fragrances today. We're talking about Tiger, one of the latest releases from Zoologist Perfumes. We're also talking about Harvest Mouse, another latest release. And then also Dodo. We are talking about the Jackfruit edition of Dodo. And I'm a fan of Zoologist Perfumes, but I have my favorites like Bee, there's Squid, there's Chipmunk, and perhaps even Macaque Yuzu edition. But most of the fragrances, not most, a lot of the fragrances from Zoologist Perfumes are a bit challenging for me to wear. I enjoy the ones I just mentioned. I love those. They're really great smelling fragrances, but a lot of them tend to be a bit challenging for me. But these 3 fragrances are really, really great fragrances and very, very wearable. So if you like my taste in fragrances, you're probably going to like these fragrances. So stay tuned to find out all about these 3 coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about Tiger from Zoologist Perfumes. We're talking about Harvest Mouse from Zoologist Perfumes. And we're also talking about Dodo Jackfruit Edition. I know of Dodo the original. It's in here. Dodo the original is very, very challenging to wear. Very, very sweaty. If that's something you like, you might want to check that out. But Dodo Jackfruit Edition is so good compared to the original. I'll get to that fragrance last, but I wanted to say I reached out to Zoologist Perfumes, the victor of Zoologist Perfumes, after I got to smell Tiger someplace, and I really, really loved it. And I was saying in videos in the past, recently, that I haven't been really excited about Vetiver fragrances as of late, but this one's actually really, really great. Plus, it's created by Cristiano Canali, who created my favorite Zoologist Perfumes, Bee. So I had to review it for you guys and let you guys know all about it, and perhaps this is kind of going to kickstart my appreciation for Vetiver fragrances again. But we're going to talk about Tiger first, the one that does feature Vetiver. This is a 2023 launch. It is created by Cristiano Canali. Man, I'm having a challenging time focusing that. And the notes are for Tiger, Vetiver, Ebony Wood, Papyrus, Kumquat, Saffron, Cardamom, Incense, Carrot Seeds, Sambac Jasmine, Suede, Ambrette Seeds. So then what do we get with Tiger? So Tiger in general is a very woody fragrance. Very woody, very aromatic, and somewhat green. Not necessarily an overdose of greenness here, but there are the green touches in there running throughout the woods. There's a grassiness about this vetiver and very, very earthy, dry. It's very, very dry fragrance and also very, very powdery. But the vetiver is king here along with the ebony wood and the papyrus. And papyrus is a note that kind of reminds me, it's a woody note. It's a woody note for sure. And it kind of reminds me like a cross between patchouli earthiness, vetiver earthiness, and also other woods mixed in together. So it's an overdose of woods, and then it's contrasted with this light, faint, kind of tart, bitter, citrusy note of kumquat. It's not necessarily big here. It's a very, very faint in here, but it adds a nice contrast to all the wood's dryness and the grassiness in here with the very prominent notes. And then along the way, you also experience some saffron. It's a nice spice, a spice that blends beautifully with these notes. It doesn't stand out, not like cinnamon or cumin or something like that. It would pop otherwise, really, really stand out and intrude when it's mixed in with the other notes. But saffron really blends beautifully, and it adds also a bit of leathery touch here as well, because the fragrance does get a bit leathery. But the fragrance has smokiness as well. There's definitely incense here. Vetiver in general does have a smokiness to begin with, some more than others, so I feel like the incense kind of accentuates the smokiness much more than what the vetiver features here. But the fragrance is very dry and very, very powdery. This is a very dry, woody, powdery fragrance here. And then, of course, the carrot seeds do contribute for the powdery effect in this fragrance, but I feel like some of the other notes are contributing to a powderiness in general. Very dry and very powdery is definitely the idea of this fragrance, of course, with its earthy woodiness and grassiness and dryness. But along the way, you'll experience a little bit of floral touches, very, very faint, not very prominent. And then, of course, muskiness as well with the ambrette seeds. But just imagine you're driving through the jungle, but it's dry. It's in the autumn. Everything, it's at the end of summer, early fall, or maybe even just in general in the fall. Everything is drying, and it's an overgrowth of woods, and you're driving through there. You're breaking the woods and the leaves and the trees and the shrubs, and it's creating a dust in the air, and that's that smell of all these ingredients that are kind of like being broken down, creating this kind of like a dusty, powdery effect. And you're driving through it, you're smelling it, And that's the kind of smell I feel like I'm getting here. And I'm not sure how this particular inspiration for this fragrance has anything to do with the tiger, but I'm kind of visualizing the tiger doing that rather than a car. But I wanted to paint a picture with you guys to see and perhaps kind of mentally smell what I think I'm smelling here with this fragrance, the idea of it. But this is a super great fragrance. Again, I was kind of bored of vetiver fragrances, but when I smelled this one, I thought this is really great. A great job done. Definitely very wearable. Those of you that like vetiver fragrances, definitely check this one out because I think it's a really, really great fragrance for you to try. And again, since it's so dry and dusty and powdery, I feel like it could be perfect for come autumn season. So those are my thoughts on Tiger. This is it right here. Let me go ahead and quickly smell it for you on camera as well to let you know a little bit more about this. Yeah, vetiver is definitely very king here. It's very, very prominent. Very, very powdery and smoky and leathery as well. The leather in this is not necessarily animalic because Zoologist perfumes do tend to go animalic with some fragrances. This is just a very smoky leather, very smoky vetiver, and also smoky papyrus because papyrus has these smoky touches. And the ebony wood is a very unique and distinct woody note that really beautifully, joins all these notes to kind of like wrap them up and to make them kind of equal kind of a thing. And again, as I was saying about the spices, the saffron is the perfect spice in this. If they added something like cinnamon or cloves, it would have totally stood out. But here, the saffron and cardamom are perfectly blended together to make one cohesive fragrance. Really, really wonderful fragrance. I feel like this is a great vetiver fragrance. So Tiger from Zoologist Perfumes, please go check that one out. So yes, as I was saying when I first started the video, I said I've had very challenging times with a lot of fragrances from Zoologist Perfumes. If you've caught my videos, you probably noticed that. There are the rare exceptions though, and for some reason, these three fragrances today are really, really great fragrances. Really, definitely fragrances that you guys could or should get your noses on them. So definitely do that, please. So next one we're talking about is Harvest Mouse. And this is another Italian perfumer here. We've got Luca Maffei. This is his first fragrance for Zoologist Perfumes. And I was saying earlier, this is Tiger from Cristiano Canali. He did B in the past, and B is my favorite fragrance from Zoologist Perfumes. So Harvest Mouse is created by Luca Maffei, another 2023 launch, and for me this fragrance smells like autumn. Once again, we've got a dry fragrance just like Tiger, but this one's sweeter. This is not very savory like the last one. This one has vanilla, this one has benzoin, so it creates a sweet characteristic here, nicely contrasted with, I feel like there's immortelle in this fragrance because it reminds me of autumn so much because the way it wears, it smells like dried leaves and shrubs once again, and a very autumn characteristic there as well. But there's no mention of immortelle in this fragrance, so I'm not sure where I'm getting that, but most likely there's Roman chamomile in this fragrance, and then also a Hey Absolute, and I feel like I'm getting that with these notes. But the notes breakdown is vanilla, Roman chamomile, benzoin, beer extract, sandalwood, Hey Absolute, Peru balsam, orange blossom, cloves, apopanax, cedarwood, davana, fir balsam, oak moss, bergamot, and rose absolute. This is a lot of stuff going on in this fragrance, and definitely is something that you go through with all of these notes. So first of all, I should say Harvest Mouse wears a bit like Maison Margiela's Jazz Club. It's that kind of a very smooth, creamy wear, vanillic wear. No booziness in this one except for that beer extract, but for me, beer is not necessarily a boozy note to begin with. It does add a bit of fizziness to the fragrance, though, and that's what I get with the beer, and it's got that distinct smell. But it's very, very vanillic and also dry and grassy, and the idea of immortelle is coming to mind. And I'm getting that because immortelle generally has the touches or the accords of caramel and brown sugar, and I feel like this fragrance does have those kinds of touches. So that's what's kind of confusing me here. But very, very grassy for sure, and also herbal here. Vanillic is definitely a key here. It does get ambery, it does get balsamic, because we've got the benzoin and we've got the Peru balsam here. So there's that ambery balsamic touch running throughout the fragrance, but it's a smooth, very, very creamy and very, very cozy fragrance. This one is not as good for me as Tiger is, but still it's a very, very wearable fragrance and enjoyable to wear. And again, if I want something very creamy, cozy, I would go with something like this and wear it because it has those vanillic touches that I like. It has these very interesting contrast. It reminds me of Immortelle. Once again, Immortelle has this very autumn-like smell to me because the fragrance here, Harvest Mouse, really smells like autumn. I don't know what it is about it, but really it smells like autumn to me, and that's why I feel like this is the perfect fragrance for someone that wants something to wear in the autumn. And definitely you should check out Harvest Mouse. So let me go ahead and smell Harvest Mouse on camera as well for you. All three of the fragrances are good, but if I was to rank the list, as I said, Tiger would be before Harvest Mouse, but both of them are really, really great. And this one also kind of has a bit of a polished smell, and I think it's that smoothness. There's a smoothness about it, like polished, sheen, clean, vanilla, all come to mind with this one. Very, very unique smell, but it does remind me a little bit of Maison Margiela or anything in that style of that kind of very creamy, polished, kind of cozy, vanillic fragrance. But yeah, this is Harvest Mouse from Zoologist Perfumes, created by Luca Maffei. Are you a fan of Luca Maffei's fragrances? I do have a video with him on the channel if you want to find out more about him and his fragrances. I took a video last year in his atelier where he creates fragrances, so if you want to find out more about him, you can, but definitely get your nose on Harvest Mouse. I think it's a pretty solid release and definitely very wearable fragrance from Zoologist Perfumes. And then finally, last but not least, it's DODO Jackfruit Edition. What a surprise this is. I'm so surprised at how great this fragrance is. I'm shocked at how great it is. It's so different than DODO the original. So different. I mean, night and day different. Jackfruit Edition is so much better than the original DODO. The original DODO was a bit off-putting to me and very, very sweaty. Here, we're going into an aromatic fougere direction with a fruity tropical edge. When I first tested the fragrance, I was a bit caught off guard, but I kept coming back to it and wearing it and then deciding, this smells like a fougere. This is a very, very unique fougere. And the fact that it has tonka beans, typically found in the base notes of a fougere, loads of lavender, loads of geranium, typically found in either the top or the heart notes of a fougere, and some other kind of supporting notes that are in DODO Jackfruit Edition that are in fougères are here as well. So the fragrance kind of is a very, very unique take on an aromatic fougere, and so because of that, it kind of does lean a bit masculine. But either way, the fragrance is created by Yves Cassar, who created the original DODO. Well, DODO, I think DODO's had 3 editions. I believe the previous edition of DODO, same perfumer, Yves Cassar. So this is Jackfruit Edition from 2023. Notes include jackfruit accord, tonka beans, lavender, geranium, turmeric leaf and turmeric root, sandalwood, vetiver, labdanum, bergamot, orange flower, orris concrete, patchouli. So when you first spray it, there's a bit of a medicinal touch, almost like camphoric. Like I feel like it smells a bit like eucalyptus. Like very potent, very pungent smell of eucalyptus, overdosed, concentrated smell. But I got used to that and I'm starting to smell it and reminds me of that, but then I'm realizing it's some of the other notes. It's the jackfruit with the turmeric. It creates this kind of a camphoric spiciness that's in here. But I feel like also mixed in with the lavender and geranium, it creates that kind of reminder of an aromatic fougere. A very, very unique take on a fougere, I have to say, because this, the more I wore it, the more I thought, okay, this smells like a barbershop fragrance, but more of, just a typical aromatic fougere style. But lots of jackfruit here. There's a greenness about this fragrance, and I feel like it contributes to this very, I should say, menthol-y kind of. The idea of the eucalyptus does come to mind with the menthol touch. So there's this very uniqueness about the jackfruit accord working with this kind of menthol and also eucalyptusy kind of touch here, which makes for a very unique thing for me. I really like the way it smells, and it's kind of addicting because I want to keep smelling it. It's the kind of smell that you really like, but you're kind of also surprised by it, but you're addicted to the smell and you want to smell it. But it's a really, really wonderful wear. Loads of tonka here, loads of lavender and geranium, and the turmeric is very unique in this. Very, very unique. I haven't really experienced turmeric this potent in a fragrance, and it really does stand out very, very uniquely. But a great scent. I'm surprised how great this is, and I was not really expecting it from this fragrance, and especially for the fact that it turned out to be an aromatic fougere. I really ended up really liking it. So those are my thoughts on DODO Jackfruit Edition. Now let's go ahead and take a smell real quick so I can tell you a little bit more about it. Yeah, there's this very interesting pulpiness about the jackfruit. You can really smell the thickness when you smell this, but instantly loads of lavender comes in, loads of it, along with the geranium and the turmeric here. It's very, very spicy, and also green. There's definitely greenness here that I'm smelling, and the idea of polished woods comes to mind as well, which is kind of the reason why I think I'm addicted to this smell, because I keep wanting to smell it, if that makes sense. But very unique take on a barbershop fragrance, a fougere. Really like that about it. I really think this is a great creation, and hopefully it's not a limited edition, and hopefully it will replace the original that Yves Cassar made, because I think this is going to be a hit out there with everyone. So that is DODO Jackfruit Edition. Have you gotten your nose on that one? Let me know. Put a comment down below so I can find out. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. What do you think about these fragrances? Have you gotten your nose on these fragrances? Do let me know. And also let me know what your favorite Zoologist Perfumes fragrances. I'd like to find out. But other than that, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.